Hello everyone, we're starting chapter 6. Jay bolted for the door and got as far as the street outside before the old man locked onto his arm with a vice-like grip. "Let me go," Jay shouted. "He has the key." No, the old man insisted. "Not on the street of the Scorpion. You will never find him, but will become lost, and then he will find you." "But he has the key." "He also has the curse." "There isn't any curse." "Oh no?" Suddenly there came a terrible crash of thunder and a cold blast of angry wind. The moon disappeared behind a boiling curtain of inky black clouds, and dogs all over the city began to howl and bark. From somewhere came a scream, and then another, and then the nerve-chilling shriek of a cat. "We must find your father," said the old man. "We must explain everything to him. I'll show you the way back." The three of them started out through the terrible darkness, hurrying along the maze of narrow streets and alleys. Jay and Lila had no idea where they were going, but the old man seemed to know every turn, every doorway, every narrow passage. He raced along, towing them by the hand, ducking, running, leaping through doorways, under walls, along narrow ledges. They jumped from rooftop to rooftop and climbed up and down long, precarious stairways. The clouds above them continued to boil and churn. Suddenly, frightening in their startling, night-shattering brilliance, huge bolts of lightning split the sky, accompanied by teeth-rattling thunder. The old man ran and ran, pulling Jay and Lila along with him. They came to a wall with an old stone stairway leading upward and a very narrow tunnel going downward. The stairs would be the safest, he said, but the tunnel would be the quickest. "We'll take the tunnel," said Jay. Lila didn't have time to offer her opinion before the three of them ducked down into the narrow hole. They soon found themselves sliding on their backsides down a slick and slimy storm drain, which dropped past many old stone foundations, drain outlets, and side tunnels. They finally came to a stop on the floor of a subterranean vault, scaring hundreds of cat-sized rats into hiding. Jay's flashlight beam caught the gleaming white faces of countless skulls grinning at them from the walls. "A burial vault?" he asked. "This place is taboo, but a very good thoroughfare if one is freed from curses," said the old man. The three hurried along, ducking under low beams and cutting around sharp corners, their feet splashing through large pools of black, rancid water. Thick, tangled spider webs wrapped around their faces with disgusting regularity, but they pulled them off and kept going. At last, after squeezing through a very tight space between two stone walls, they came upon a well shaft that went down into eerie blackness, but also soared high above them. Water trickled down its sides, while flashes of lightning flickered across the opening and reflected down the wet walls, lighting the shaft with spooky blue rays. The old man started climbing a long series of primitive hand and footholds made of stone, and Jay and Lila followed him. Every step was slippery, and they hung on sometimes only by their fingernails, desperate for a good grip on anything. Below them, the deep well shaft disappeared into blackness, and they could hear the heavily echoed trickling of water. Lila suddenly slipped. She grabbed Jay's foot just above her as her own feet dangled helplessly above the abyss. The old man held Jay firmly until Lila could place her feet in the slippery cavities once again. Then they continued their long, vertical climb. They could hear the echo of the wind howling down the well, and flashes of lightning came fast and furious. The wind whipped downward into the shaft and spit cold rain in their faces. Finally, with a few last desperate clawings at the slippery stones, they emerged from the shaft and found themselves in a wide, deserted street. All around them, the windows were tightly shuttered. There was no sign of life anywhere. The clouds above still boiled angrily, and the lightning was terrifyingly close. The old man looked all around, his face etched with fear. "Please," he said over the rush of the cold wind, "we must call on the name of Jesus and his Father, our God. Evil is rampant in the city tonight. Perhaps we have brought it upon ourselves." A sharp flash of light suddenly surrounded them. The entire street lit up with an intense glow, and they fell to the ground. "Jay?" a familiar booming voice called. "Lila?" It was their father. The light came from the headlights of his Jeep. "Dad!" they cried. They ran to him as he leaped from the Jeep and embraced them. "Are you all right?" he asked. "Just fine," said Jay. "Boy, have we got something to tell you," Lila piped in. Dr. Cooper noticed the old ex-shaman standing there, and his muscles tensed. "Who is this man?" he said coldly. Jay tried to reassure him. "A friend, Dad. A friend who means well, and a new believer in Jesus." Still feeling some reservations, Dr. Cooper offered his hand to the former kidnapper. "I am Dr. Cooper." "Yes, yes," the old man replied, taking Dr. Cooper's hand. "The children's father." "Everybody into the Jeep," said Dr. Cooper. "We've got to get back to the president's palace. I've discovered something important to all of us." They clambered into the Jeep, and Lila said, "So have we, Dad." As the Jeep roared out of the east side of the city and back toward the affluent section of town, Jay and Lila told Dr. Cooper everything that had happened, especially about their discovery of the one and only key and about the mysterious thief who had stolen it. Dr. Cooper listened raptly, then said, "Jay and Lila, you don't know how serious this is. We must find that key. We must get the president to help us, even if it takes a whole Napoleon army." The Jeep roared up in front of the magnificent presidential palace, and the four of them ran down the huge marble halls, then burst through the big teakwood doors and into the president's office. The president was gone. "Where is he?" Dr. Cooper asked no one in particular, looking every which way for any sign of the man. "I just left him here before I went to find you. We must speak with him." Dr. Cooper grabbed the telephone from the president's desk. The line was dead, but he noted that the receiver was picking up strange, rumbling noises. Thunder crashed outside, and the wind started screaming and wailing past the windows, rattling the panes and making the roof beams groan. The limbs of the tree slapped loudly against the building. He slammed down the phone and announced, "We'll have to search the building." "That won't be necessary," a gruff voice behind them said. They turned toward the door, and there stood Gozan, grinning his big yellow grin and pointing a gun at them. "Hands up! Hands up!" he ordered, and they all complied. "Dr. Cooper, you may drop your weapon." Dr. Cooper reached slowly into his holster and pulled out his gun. He set it down carefully on the floor. "Gozan," he said with a steady voice, "where is the president?" Gozan just kept smirking, a picture of arrogance. "No need for you to know, good doctor. He did give me my orders, though. He told me I am to take care of you." Gozan seemed very cocky, but Dr. Cooper noticed that his hands were shaking. "Gozan, are you afraid of something?" The hand holding the gun shook even more, maybe dangerously so, as Gozan yelled angrily, "Don't try to play games with me, Dr. Cooper. I'm in charge now." Then he relaxed his voice a little and went back to his arrogant smirk. "You would not think to share the great treasure of Nimrod with me, so now I will not think to share it with you." Suddenly Lila noticed Gozan's very familiar, wide-brimmed hat. You're the thief who was outside the window." Gozan laughed his fiendish laugh. "You are very observant, Miss Lila. Yes, it was me. I knew where to find the old shaman, and I overheard everything you said about the wonderful magical key." Dr. Cooper could no longer stand still. He took a step forward, and Gozan pointed the gun at him threateningly. "Gozan," Dr. Cooper said earnestly, "you must give us that key. You must not try to open the door." "Doctor, don't tell me what to do. I'm in control now. We have the key, and we will be able to open the door without you. You are no longer needed." Dr. Cooper was looking at Gozan's hands again. "Gozan, you are afraid. I can see it." Gozan screamed his denial. "I am not afraid." "Listen to me. Listen, Gozan. There is no treasure." A streak of lightning flashed across the sky, and thunder rattled the whole building. The lights began to blink on and off. Gozan stood there, his eyes darting to and fro. Sweat ran down his face. Dr. Cooper kept pounding away at him. "Did you hear me, Gozan? There is no treasure. We were wrong about the door." Gozan almost sounded desperate as he cried, "I don't believe you." "Everything you feared about the door is true. The door is evil." "The door is evil," the old man agreed. Jay was surprised at what his father was saying. "Dad, what are you talking about?" Dr. Cooper glanced sideways at Jay as he spoke, keeping one eye on the barrel of Gozan's gun. "We had the legend figured out all wrong, Jay. I misread the inscription. The star didn't fly through heaven. It fell from heaven." That is what I said the old man. Dr. Cooper continued. "Think about it. The star that fell from heaven. Where have you heard that phrase before?" Gozan protested. You said it was Nimrod, the great Babylonian king." "The term also applies to someone else. I found it today in the Bible. I knew I'd read it somewhere before." Jay was pleading now. "Where, Dad? What does it say?" Dr. Cooper spoke slowly and deliberately. "Revelation chapter 9. A star fallen from heaven to earth. Those exact words." Jay began to recall that passage. "Yeah, that's right." They all felt a shuddering, a rumble from deep under the floor. The chandeliers began to sway back and forth. "Here we go again," said Lila. "It is the evil," said the old man. "It is the door." Gozan began to tremble and gasp for breath. "I don't believe you. You are trying to trick me." Dr. Cooper wouldn't let him relax, but kept speaking in earnest. "Oh, I am, huh? Remember, Gozan? Remember how the earth would shake every time we got near the door? Remember what happened to all the other expeditions? How they died, went crazy, ran in terror? Remember how nothing would grow anywhere around the dragon's throat?" Gozan's eyes were huge with fright. He struggled to stand on his feet. His fear was nearly more than he could stand. "The door does not belong to Nimrod?" "The door does not belong to Nimrod," Dr. Cooper insisted. "Nimrod didn't put it there. Someone else did." Jay was dying to know. "Who, Dad? Who?" "Put it together, Jay. The star that fell from heaven, the god of the earth, and that name the old man used, Shandago. That's an old expression for the word dragon or serpent. Those terms are in the Bible." The truth hit Jay and Lila. The old man already knew it, but in different terms. Jay said it in horror. "Satan!" Dr. Cooper pointed his finger right at Gozan, and it could have been a gun. The effect on the poor trembling man was so severe. "Gozan, we've got to have that key. You must not open the door." "No, no," Gozan pleaded in a higher and higher voice. That rumbling we heard, that strange humming like a beehive, remember that? Dr. Cooper's eyes burned like fire as he pronounced the horrible truth to this wilting bandit. There are demons behind that door, Gozan. Countless demons, specially appointed to torture and destroy mankind. They've been waiting thousands of years to be let out of there. You must give us that key. The words grated and scratched their way out of Gozan's trembling jaws, one by one. I I do not have the key. Where is it, Gozan? I gave it to the president. He has gone to the dragon's throat. Gozan was obviously terrified by his own words. He is going to open the door. Stay tuned to find out what happens.